This is how I overnight swing trade. It's a little before the close. And I use Spy Tomorrow because, well, heck, I built it. And for those of you who want to use the free signal, it's available here at 4 o'clock. However, I'm able to look in as well as other members beforehand. And so I like to go here and take a look at our basic terminal. And this is what our terminal looks like. It says the official blue signal is up. The confidence is only 53%. We're kind of in the middle here in terms of how much gap pressure, in other words, a big move the next day. Our pressure meter is in a range that would say positive. Our GX ratio is not real strong. Our hurdle rate, not much of a hurdle rate. That basically, this is a general estimate of how much the market has to move to actually make money. So we're leaning up right now, but not very strong. So I'm probably not going to place a big trade. We'll use an example trade. I like to look at the various dashboards. We're testing what we refer to as switches right now. And this is the one that's our main signal. But I want to take a look at this. But I want to take a look at the other switch tests. And this one is down. And this one is up. So 2 out of the 3 are up. This one is the silver and then the overnight one that we're testing. So 2 up. I'm going to stick with it. The traditional one is up, and that's been very solid. We have other tools here that kind of give us the sense of the mood of the market, including the available switches. We have daytime readings, such as what's the market looking like right now, in terms of what's the market looking like right now, and it's very positive. At least going to the end of the day, it's very solid. So what I do is I go to here. I'm going to go with IWM. Although it hasn't been following perfectly with SPY, it's a little less expensive and I can get a little further with if it all goes my way. So I'm going to buy a 1 day till expiration. And yeah, these are not that expensive. So I'm going to buy this one right in the money. If you're going to do a hedge, here is the delta is actually a little high there at 55, 56. You would then look for maybe 50% of that. So like a 28 delta. Here is 27 delta. So you could have bought this and that. This could be your hedge. And the thing is, if everything goes your way, I just kind of let this run in case I can sell out of my call. And then maybe this one will pop back up and I can make money both directions. It has happened many times. I'm not going to go for a hedge today. This is one of the options, the 2-to-1 option ratio. I like to use delta. Again, we're looking here and then around 50 and here. If we put in SPY, if you want, you could have bought the 45 delta or the 58 delta. If you want to be a little more safer, just in the money, that's fine. In the money means it has a little bit of intrinsic value. Out of the money is basically potential value. And let's say we bought this one at 112 and that's a 46. So we would look at maybe around a 25 delta on the other side right here. Here's about a 25 delta. We would have bought that for 60 cents. I might have gone a little further down than that just because I don't necessarily wanted the 2-to-1 in terms of a dollar amount, which is what you can do. You most certainly can do it based off of dollar amounts. Or you could say, look, I want to buy this one. I'm going to buy this 57 delta and this 54. So I could buy 2 of these and 1 of these. And that would be a 2-to-1 ratio also. So there are a few ways to do your ratio trades for hedges. But when there's small amounts, I just go directional quite often, especially if all the numbers are kind of pointing in my direction. But we'll see. Maybe that other switch that we're testing out is right on. We'll see. we're really refining this last algorithm with the switches, because the algorithm itself works really well, but the switches, they have been playing a role, and we're in a time of the market where the switches are bouncing around. For the last quite a while, the switches have been just stable. So all the algorithms were certainly that we were testing at the time, we're just doing the same thing every day. We weren't worrying about the switches, but now we have switches to worry about. So we're testing the various ones to see how they work with this algorithm. That way, moving forward, we're going to be a more solid ground, because we want to be prepared for when markets change over time. So here's my position. It's an IWM September 23rd, which is tomorrow, 1 day away. And it's in the money, as you can see, ITM in the money. This one is actually $1 less. I purchased this one $1 less because actually I used the wrong account. So I actually had to sell that other one, and I bought this one quickly for this demonstration. So I actually got it for about $1 less than I think our example, but it's still going to work the same way. And we'll see how all this works out tomorrow morning. Getting nervous, knowing that that new switch is supposed to be really solid, and the market started to go down, I thought I would buy a little bit of insurance. So I bought a very small put. Now this can take away from the profit if it goes up, and we were right all along, but it can also minimize any loss or even become profitable if we have a big down day, which is certainly something that we're due for. I like to check in around 8:30 rather than chasing the market all morning. I generally get up around 5 a.m. and you can watch every 5 seconds if you want. I recommend that you set a time like 8:30 Eastern time for me. And as you can see, the market is flat as expected. And so, let's take a look at IWM and our put. So it's up a little bit, probably in a range where I might break even or even lose a little bit of money if the market doesn't go up anymore. Let's review what our numbers said last night. This is the members page, and we're up 135. A pressure gauge of 24 is on the mid lower side. Usually 30 and above for SPY is when we start to see the danger or bearish side. And a 2-to-1 option ratio on that meter. So we did look at the CV dashboard, which is our main go-to dashboard. This is what we looked at last night. The hurdle rate is now erased out for the next day. But a flat regime, that's what it was saying. When it's minus, it's flat. When it's positive, it's more of an expansion. This number is kind of mid-range, 1 through 10. So in the 53% confidence. So with all that, we didn't put in a lot. Now, the market started to go down. You may recall I am testing out some switches because our indicator did really well, but that's because all the switches were positive. There was no adjustments, but we've been having some fluctuation in the switches. Specifically, this new overnight switch was pointing down. This is a new switch. However, the traditional switches, the blue switch and the gamma switch, which is what we had been using consistently over the summer, were up. And so for the most part should be up, but when the market started going down, I got a little nervous, so I bought a little protection hedge. So if the market does go up, well, chances are I'm not going to make the profit I might have if I went directional, but I had that safety so I could sleep overnight. Here we are just a few seconds, maybe 30 seconds before the bell, and yeah, we're rather flat here. Our IWM has moved up a little bit, which is helpful, but we'll see how it goes. I have a feeling we're going to be leaning more up. Here we go, and we'll see what happens. So we are up $15, $16 right now. I think with a flat market, just getting out might be a good idea. And that's what I did. It could keep going up, and it very may well, but you know what? Sometimes it's just good to take the profit in the beginning. Sometimes I will wait because a lot of times these markets mature, say 10, 11 o'clock. But you know what? Yeah, as we see, our IWM continues to go up. There was some opportunity there, but I am not going to complain about a positive move, especially when I have with such a flat open, I have a hedge, which is actually diluting any profits. It probably would have been much bigger profits, and maybe I would have put a hedge or put a stop underneath it and followed it up if it was just directional. Again, everybody has their own comfort zone, and everybody has to trade in a way which is comfortable for them. And as you can see, my IWM continues to go up solidly. Could have made a lot more money. Could have made another 30%, I get, or so. But here we are. Again, on a flat day. This would be horrible if we had bought SPY or QQQ. That's why I did IWM. And now it's coming back down, as you can see, pretty quickly. So again, it's not going to take much for this to become less than 147. So you can see here we purchased the call at 105 and we sold at 144. And as you saw, it went up even higher. In other words, about 70-80% just a few moments later as a whole. But we made about 36%, well, say 34, 35%, above 30%. But our hedge lost 20 cents. And that's why I like a low hedge, because now we gained, so we made about 10-15% overnight on a very flat market. If I didn't have a hedge, it would have been a much bigger day. But again, I wouldn't have been sleeping very well overnight either. So there we go. Here's one very basic overnight swing trade.